I cheated on you for 6 years. I am so clouded with confusion, stressed, sadness, fears, you name it. I am all of it right now. I've been married for 6 years. We have a 2-year-old daughter who is so vibrant and smart little girl. And here I cheated. I don't know what led me to do what I did, but I did it. I am guilty. My husband and I have been having marital problems for years now. Still trying to find myself. I am in my late 22nd and he's in his late 32nd. Could it be the age gap? I don't know. I understand that some of you will judge me for what I did, but I honestly don't know why I did what I did. I love my husband and my daughter, but the sparks in my marriage is gone. Here's the history of my marriage and how it all started. I met my husband overseas 2 years prior to our marriage. The sex was great. The chemistry is through the roof and we decided we were made for each other. So I came over to the US, marry the love of my life, and start a new life to a foreign land. I struggle at first. I don't have any friends or family. He's all I have for protection. And I was unemployed for a year. So thankfully, he makes a good living for both of us. He gave me everything I needed, a car, a home, clothes. I don't even have to work. 6 years later, our life is made. We both have a good job, suburban home. A wonderful daughter. Our family is what everyone sees from the outside as perfect. As my career advances, my job requires a lot of my time. So I spend less and less time at home. My husband is the same as well. We never have time for each other, and when we do, we talk about cleaning our house. Our daughter's schedule, bills, cleaning. We never went out for dinner with just the two of us. He likes to do things I find boring and I like to go places he does not like. Mall, bars, movie, dinner. We are just very different people, and I'm still struggling to understand how I did not see that when we were dating. Our sex is non-existent as well. I always have to be the one initiating. This year, we have had slept together 5 times and I asked him what is wrong with him. He could not give me a straight-up answer. And no, he's not impotent. I met the other man in April. He is the total opposite of my husband. He does everything for me that my husband refuses to do. Romantic dinner, movies, long conversation. We connect on every level. He's in his late 22nd, so that could be the reason why we have a lot in common. I realize how much I am liking the other man, so I ended it with him and it hurts so bad. So I contact him again to meet. It has become an on and off relationship due to my indecisiveness. I can't leave my husband and I feel so guilty that I am doing all of this behind my family's back. I think the other man got tired of my indecisiveness, so we stopped communicating altogether. Last time I saw him was this week. I miss him so much and I feel so bad to feel what I feel. I cry and I don't know what to do. I still haven't had the guts to tell my husband the truth and I don't know if I ever will. Right now, I can't eat, I'm stressed, and I feel a gut-wrenching sadness. I look at my daughter and I start crying because I feel like I am stuck in marriage I don't want to be in. I love my husband, but I am not in love with him anymore. I don't know what to do. I hope I will find the light, the answer, or whatever it is I am looking for. I don't have the courage to tell my husband that I cheated. I am so lost right now. I asked him today. He could take me out to dinner or watch movies with me this week. His typical replies, well, see, we just have so many things to do in our home. I don't know how to tell him that our marriage is in trouble. I'm sure he will want a divorce if he finds out, and I don't know if I am ready for that. I am looking for answers, anything I can get. Right now, I don't have anyone to tell how I really feel inside. It's killing me. If we divorce, I'm afraid that he will end up getting custody of my daughter because it was me who cheated. I stopped talking to the other man, but I don't know what will happen if he insists on seeing me again. Our bonding life is non-existent. During the 6 years of marriage, I can count our bonding encounter 35 times more or less. I am only 28 years old, and he's depriving with something we need to keep our marriage strong. There is nothing wrong with him. He never had any surgery and he is not impotent. Although sometimes I wish he is. That way my feelings aren't always hurt whenever he rejects me in bed. Whenever I'm with other man, I always feel guilty and worried of getting caught. I also feel that he is starting to feel frustrated in our situation. That's why I ended it. I at first thought that maybe it was love I have for this other man. However, I still can't wrap around the idea of loving 2 of them at the same time. I know that's not possible. I am eating my own cake, I know, and I have the best of both worlds with the 2 of them in my life. But I also know that grass is not always greener on the other fence, so I made the decision to stay with my husband. Tomorrow, I will talk to him and tell him the truth. He will probably divorce or he might not. I don't know. The other man is a 29-year-old single. What attracts me the most is the fantasy he provides for me that my husband refused to give. He is the man my husband used to be. This all feels like a bad dream to me. I never thought that I will be in this situation. My husband is a great man, but he is not what the other man is. I don't know. It is hard to explain. Maybe the lack of intimacy between my husband and I led me to stray. I take full responsibility for what I did. I am just very worried of repercussion I will be made to face once my husband finds out. My husband has a dangerous job, law enforcement. His schedule also varies and requires for him to be on call. I, on the other hand, works a 9-to-5 job. I take care of my daughter's daily routine, drive her to daycare, pick her up, attend birthday parties, walk in the park, swimming pool, play with her. My affair did not affect my overall relationship with my daughter. When he begins depriving me of bonding, I lost my self-esteem. I even wrote a letter to him, telling him how I feel. He totally disregards that. I got my self-esteem back when I start working again. I got a lot of offers and compliments at my workplace, and I rejects all of them, except the OM. I am not justifying my action, but I believe that all of this happens for a reason. My husband is a wonderful father. He spends his days off bringing my daughter to places and playing with her. He's a good father to her. I'm sure that even if we divorce, he will continue to be a good father to our daughter. I believe that me not wanting to leave my husband stems from the love I have for my daughter. I can't see any man raising my daughter other than my husband. However, I slowly find myself not attracted to him due to lack of intimacy. I know it sounded like I am justifying my affair. I hope that I can bring back the man who I used to date 7 years ago. He was fun, the bonding was great. I don't have to beg for it, and the sweetest guy I ever know. Now, I just don't know him and myself anymore. I asked my husband to go to a marriage counselor after I ended the relationship with other man. But my husband refused. His reasoning was, I don't see why we can't resolve whatever issue between us, and I don't want to push further as I'm afraid he would begin to suspect something. As I said in my previous post, I will talk to him tonight and see what happens. I know that my affair cannot be justified. I am very remorseful for what I did. When my husband refuses to sleep with me, I truly feel unattractive. My self-esteem plunged to the ground, and I feel as though I wasn't the woman he thought I would be. I feel like I disappoint him. But then, when I got a job, I met all kinds of people who helps me get my self-esteem back by their compliments and attention. That's when I realized, I'm not ugly. My physical appearance is not the reason for his lack of bonding with me. He never initiates with me. I always have to be that person. I even try to spice it up. I wore sexy clothes, you name it. I tried everything for him to want to get physical with me. I know it's not because of my appearance. Even after the baby, my weight is not the problem. 5'3", 110 pounds. Whenever I go, I get stared at, and his work colleague compliments me as well. He told me so. So I really don't understand why he refused to have bonding with me. I ended it with other man last Thursday. I went home and talked to my husband about going to marriage counselor. I did because I am so confused. I just ended a relationship with the other man. I was hurt, confused, and torn. I told my husband that although we're married, the bonding is not there and we have to find a common ground, as I feel that we are drifting apart. He gave me a typical response, and I feel as though he brushes it off. Could it be our age gap? He's 39 years old and I'm 28. I am beginning to think that he thinks he can do whatever he wants, withhold bonding, and expects me to stay with him. I am being brutally honest here. There's no reason for me to sugarcoat my story to strangers. My husband and I hug and kiss. Typical married couple. We never fail to say I love you even when we fight. It's just the bonding is not there. I married him when I was 22, dated him when I was 19. The physical time stops the very first year we marry. He's not impotent. There's nothing wrong with him, and I don't think he's cheating. However, he has a partner at work, female, who is also married with 2 kids who he talks to a lot. But I don't know because he always comes home on time. I also know her husband, and she's offered to be the godmother for my daughter, so I can't imagine them having an affair. I am afraid to tell him. I feel very remorseful and guilty for what I did. I love my husband and I can't justify my cheating. I should have divorced him, or at least tell him what the problem was instead of cheating. But I am just a person. I am weak. I fall for the trap. I like the attention. The other man is the person who filled my fantasy. He made me happy by making me feel important, taking me places I never been to before. I asked my husband many times to take me to a particular place. He said yes, but never bother bringing me. He cared for the things I care for that my husband finds useless and time-consuming. He bought me things my husband will never spend money on. But then again, cheating is wrong, and that's why I'm here. He will only sleep with me if I initiate and beg him for it. He never once initiates. And we have our daughter because we planned it. We had one time the night of March 8th and then April 14th. By May 26th we found out I was pregnant. I am considering of telling him the truth, but I must be ready for divorce, for I am not. I believe that I have to be ready for divorce before spilling out the beans. This is something big I'm not sure he can endure. He may very well divorce me for this. I hope I know why he won't sleep with me. I used to think it was because of his job, detective. He sees a lot of ugly things. So, whenever he tells me he's tired, headaches, etc., I just stop and don't bother. Sometimes, I would tell him if we can do it, and he would tell me, maybe, and then by the time we were in bed, he would say he's tired. Not tonight or whatever. I am tired of getting rejected. I also build up resentment because of it, and at one point, I thought of divorcing him. I made a mistake for resolving my marital problems to cheating, and I'm paying for that with guilt. It's eating me alive. My husband is a good man. He loves me, and I know that. I think that if I disclose the affair, he will withhold more so than ever before. We may end up divorced even if we try to fix our marriage. I ended the affair. I will not talk to the other man again, even if he tries. I will not respond to his calls and messages. The affair, I ended it last Thursday. I never had any affair before April, and I was never intimate with anyone other than my husband when we had our daughter. I'm from Spain. My mom is Malaysian. My dad is Spanish. I don't know if it's a good idea to tell him about the affair in front of MC. Should I tell him about the affair before MC, or should I bring him to MC and tell him everything there? I am not sure what to do. I want to be as gentle about it as possible and tell him everything. At first suspect he was cheating. I used to check his cell phone without his knowledge, read his emails, and so forth. I vigilantly tried to find a reason for his lack of bedtime with me. I wrote a letter, back to back, before the cheating occurs, about how I feel, the lack of bonding, and how much I am hurt by it, and he disregarded the letter and my cry for his attention. I guess I will find out everything once we go to MC. My daughter is 18 months old to be exact. She doesn't know what's going on yet. I was and is always there for my daughter. I am a coward and selfish. I want to tell him so bad what's going on, and I am so afraid to see his reaction. I am also very selfish for cheating. I enjoyed the moment I had with OM, but now I ended it with him. I don't know what to do. I don't know what's going to happen in my marriage. I understand what all of you are saying, that I should tell my husband. It is very easy to suggest, but it's the hardest thing one ever have to do. I am having a hard time opening my mouth and tell him the truth. I just can't find the words. I did say I would tell him, but right now, my mind is in clouds. I am weighing the situation. Maybe I should give it some time. Talk to him about us and see how I can insert that affair thingy. My H doesn't know who the other guy was. We had 2 physical encounters this June, and I ended it right away when we had slept together. The guy is a top man for the company I worked for. So, it's highly likely we will see each other again, but I will reject him with all my power and avoid him as much as possible. He told me that he will help me with everything I need if I divorce my H, but I choose to end the affair and be with my husband. I check phone records. He calls her a lot and they send text messages and so forth. The other night I saw his message asking her how she was. She took 2 days off because of cold, and she replied she wasn't feeling well. I thought that was weird, and I asked him about it, and he said, why am I reading his text message? He also told me that he isn't reading mine. I don't know if you can call me submissive, but maybe I am. I don't know. As you can see from my previous post, I can't have him sleep with me. I tried to drag him to a movie theater and he refused. I beg him to have dinner or take me to romantic places. Yet he will only say yes and never actually do it. So yes, I am submissive for putting up to all this. My biggest mistake was I resort to cheating rather than fixing whatever is there to fix. It's hard to find a job and dump the place I work for just like that, especially in this economy. I like my job. I enjoy working for the company I worked for. He has some authority over me, although he is not my indirect boss. He is the boss of my boss's boss. You're right, the emotional affair we have had could very well be a lie. He stayed with me even without the good times, and the only good time happens because I allowed for it to happen. He tried to call me and I ignore. He also sends me a text message and I again ignore. I admit, I developed some feelings for him, but I ended it for the sake of my daughter. I don't want her to suffer because of my selfishness. I guess if I don't get the bonding, then so be it. We'll see how I can survive this whole thing. It's very difficult to be married to a person who refused to be intimate with you. For 6 years, I was faithful. Other times, I imagine that my H and I will do intimate things together as a couple. I feel alone, rejected, and I built a lot of resentment towards him. I do still love him, but I'm not sure if I'm in love with him anymore. I am so confused with how I'm feeling right now. I rebuffed the idea of leaving him mostly because of my love for my daughter. If it was just him and I would be long gone. I never justify my affairs because of lack of intimacy. I merely point out that leading to the affairs was a lonely non-physical marriage my H subject me to. If he was not selfish, if he would have just left me instead of leading me on, if he would have just given me a straight-up answer before we had our daughter, I can't give you what you want. Please find someone else that will give you the intimacy a healthy marriage requires. Now, it's too late to repair what it's done. I lost my feelings for him, and I don't know if I have the right tools to repair what has left our marriage. My H and I sat down and talked today. I told him that we needed to go to MC. I told him that our marriage is in trouble, and that I want a divorce if he refuses to go to marriage counseling with me. He looks at me with surprise in his eyes. I can see fears and sadness. I told him that I want answers for why he withheld sleeping with me. I also said that I love him and I lost the in-love feelings I once have for him because of resentments. As expected, he tried to turn it around on me. According to him, He had built resentment for 2 years. That's why he wouldn't have slept with me. Because I am always tired from work. I work too much and that I spend a lot of time at work. Okay, he withheld physical time from me for 6 years, and his resentment starts just 2 years ago. So I don't understand what happened the last 4 years then. First year of marriage, I was unemployed. Second year of marriage, I worked part-time. Third year of marriage, I was unemployed again. Fourth year when I began my full-time job, and I got pregnant. At fifth year when I got my promotion, he refused and did not have sleep with me for almost 8 straight months after our daughter was born, and I admit I work more hours. 40 hours a week, due to new and more responsibilities my new position requires. I just know there's an underlying reason for his refusal to be intimate. I need and I want answers. I am contemplating on leaving him, maybe divorce him, but I don't have the courage to tell him about the affairs yet. I'm not sure I can do that. Unfortunately, and understandably, most of you will jump on me for this. I can easily say I told him the truth, but I didn't and I wouldn't. I need to clear my mind and totally remove myself from OM before I can be totally honest to my H. He led me on by having a lot of bonding with me prior to our marriage. He should not have planned a family with me, getting me pregnant and all. Knowing that in order for me to be happy in our marriage, I need the intimacy I deserve. I married him because I thought we both share the feelings, and he was a fraud after all. He knows that marriage is not just a piece of paper. It involves mortgage, assets, debts, and kids. I did tell him clearly, on the first year of our marriage, that I want him. I need him, and bonding is part of our agreement. Looking back, I should have known. I guess he thought I would never say anything, and I will stay married regardless. He took advantage of my kindness. He probably believes that me being raised by a conservative mother would prevent me from leaving him. My H have to come clean for why he was and is refusing to sleep with me, and I will confess if he does. I lost the love I have left for him. He cried today when I told him that I am divorcing him, but I gave him the chance to see an MC before I made up my mind. Now, I see how much I really mean to him, now that I'm almost gone. I'm very mad right now. He should not have subjected me to this, or I wouldn't have to deal with what I'm dealing right now. I am young, I loved him, I cared for him. I gave up my life I had in Spain. I left my mom, my relatives, and everything I have to be with him. This roller coaster ride had me all confused and is the main reason for my uncertainty. Maybe, by the time I confessed, I wouldn't feel anything but anger. I fear that if my H finds out, he will hurt the other man. By hurt I mean, I'm worried that he will be revealed everything in my workplace for revenge or sue the company I work for. Knowing him, he will do exactly that. As bad as it is, I care for the other man. If I don't, I wouldn't have slept with him. Most of you will hate me, but I fall for the other man. If I didn't, I wouldn't have contemplated of leaving my H. My heart tells me to leave my H, but my mind tells me not to. I feel this way because we have a child together. There's no reason for me to hurt my child, and the only reason I am in distress is because of my child. I built a lot of resentment to my H because he failed us. He failed me. I am not reasoning for my actions, but it's the truth. Even with all of this, I feel like my cheating made me a stronger person. It's crazy, I know. I now know that if my H cannot and will not fulfill what I'm looking for in a marriage, I can leave. I have many options waiting for me, unlike before, where he's all I have. Today, my H came home early to cook me dinner. He was super nice to me. I think he's trying to change his attitude towards our marriage. I feel good about it, but I also felt bad. After dinner, he cleans our bedroom, showered, and wanted to sleep with me. Well, I just can't do it. I'm consumed with guilt, and I'm still unsure when I'm going to tell him about the other man. I made a decision to tell him after seeing MC next week, however. I will also give conditions to our marriage. If he can't be with me anymore because of the other man, then we're getting a D. If, however, he still wants to work it out, then he would have to change his attitude towards our marriage. If not, I am going to divorce him. Comments: you are a selfish person and very disrespectful. The only reason that you are here is for us to tell you it's okay that you cheated and you might do it again. If you read threads, everyone advice that you should tell your husband and cut contact and emotion with other man. But no, you are here to find someone to tell you keep doing what you are doing. You don't deserve your husband, and you don't deserve a custody of your baby. If you can treat her father that way, what kind of example are you? Bonding is not a major pillar in a marriage, but love and understanding and raising a family and feeling secure is what marriage about. Raising a good moral family is part of building strong community. Most people here are not satisfied with their bedroom life and don't open their legs because of that. Believe me, your husband will find out either way. Let's say you left your husband and lived with other man, and he turned to be after a while a player and a cheater and abusive and really cared about sleeping with you. So would you take that over your life now? Have you thought your husband works dangerous job and put his life on the line for you to be happy and secure? Have you thought about the whole years he supported you while you even didn't speak English? Don't tell you scarified by moving to the USA. That is a choice you chose. No one hit you on face to move here. You are the abusive one. You are who left her family, and your baby should not leave her family because you can't keep your pants on. She deserves to be with her father after divorce if that happened. Basically, what I am saying is that there is a chance you can get past this, you and your husband, but it's very unlikely that you will ever stay married and truly be happy with one another. In short, you two do not have a true love. You rushed your marriage likely. You also displayed narcissistic behavior among plenty of other things that show character flaws, and you used your stress and situation to act out something. I will tell you this, there are 3 types of people out there when it comes to cheating. Those who will never cheat no matter what, those will cheat they just need the situation, and those who will cheat given the chance. You are the person who will cheat given the situation that is right. It's best that you tell him and you two files for divorce and you move on, and he moves on and hopefully can find someone who won't cheat on him. But I suspect that, like most, will not file for divorce immediately. You will likely hide it, or you two will get past it for the time being, then divorce years later citing ongoing problems as the reason. OP responds, I know I was a bit harsh the way I approached things with my H. I was in despair, in clouds. I just couldn't find the answers I'm looking for. I have a very stressful job, coupled that with problem at home, and I'm ready to explode. Cheating with my H is the biggest mistake I ever done in my life. Mainly because I am about to hurt my H once he finds out. I don't know how to tell him. Maybe that's why I tried to protect my feelings by telling myself that my H neglects me physically. Which he did, and it's the truth. It gives me the right to hurt him too. It was the wrong attitude to begin with. I am not justifying my cheating on my H downfall. My affair added more problems to the already deteriorating marriage. Before I cheated, we had problems in our bonding life. Sometimes I ask myself, would I ever cheat if I was physically satisfied? I know I wouldn't. I was faithful for 6 years, considering I don't get so much good time from him. I wasn't even tempted. I wore my wedding ring with pride, and each time a man would approach me, I happily, with smile, replies I am married. In hindsight, I wish I never went out with the other man when he asks me out. First time we were alone talking about work. We since became friends and gets really close to each other. I cheated because I want to feel love again. I feel good being noticed by someone so different from my H. The other man is single, good looking, successful, intelligent. I had a very good conversation with him about life in general. I don't think what we had was lust. I do think we would stay good friends if we didn't fool around. I ruined our friendship by cheating on my H and mixing our relationship with pleasure. We used to be just good friends at work and outside work. I regret losing him as a friend, and now I'm scared of losing my H, my lover. For those of who think that I am leaving my H for the other man are mistaken. I haven't talked or in contact with the other man. He tried to call my cell, send text messages, and called my office. But I ignore his plea. Today, I even go as far as to tell him through letter that I am no longer interested in talking to him and that it's better for him to stay as far away from me. I also told him that any conversation we are to have from now on would have to be about business and only about business. And that he is nothing to me. We have to communicate through work email every day about reports and all work-related issues. Some of you suggested to initiate an NC, and I did just that. It was hard at first. I was still living in my fantasy the first time I posted here, because I really enjoy the time I had with him. Many of you accurately predict how the other man is going to react and the way I dealt with him. He chased me, called me, he even sends text message saying, "Can we have a coffee and talk about this as friends?" And someone said that he would do just that. I avoid him at all cost. I disagree to someone saying that bonding isn't as important in keeping a healthy marriage relationship. I love my H so much. I was thinking about him all day at work. My H is a great guy, and I realized that one thing is missing from us. And that is romance. Like I said, we haven't been out anywhere with just him and I, or have long conversation. All we talked about is bills, our daughter's schedule, his job, my school. In school for masters. It feels like circle every day. I believe that we can salvage our marriage. My H does need to change though, and I need to tell him the truth, and I will. I am torn between telling him my affair or fixing what needs to be fixed in our marriage first. Don't know which one first. I will be heartbroken if he chooses to but I will accept and respect his decision. Someone said that it is better to fix my marriage first before telling him I cheated. I don't know which one to do first. I was thinking that I would tell him about the friendship I developed with other man, and that I had a short affair and ended it because I love him. I think that my H would explode from anger. I don't know, I'm really scared. I feel like it's easier to do my H and stop loving him, but I owed it to my daughter to at least try. If my H decides he couldn't do it anymore, then I will be left very heartbroken, and it's all my fault for cheating. MC is on Friday after work. After MC, I will tell him everything. My comment, part 2 coming today as well. Going to show you the mess when OP confess. Have you ever confessed to your partner? Comment down below.